Hi guys, Rhonda without an H here with you. This is week 6. Oh my goodness, week 6 already. Wow. Of the Idea Book Challenge. It's my turn. And I have decided that I'm showing you my style of collaging. I don't know if collaging is the right term even, because I don't necessarily put images over other images, but that's still what I'm going to call it. It's Rhonda's collaging. I've actually been doing it for quite some time, several years. I started in fabrics when we used to make postage stamp quilts, which those that do that, they're very small squares, like inches, of different fabrics that you make a mini quilt from, or bigger. And I took that idea and started putting fabrics together that I liked, but not having them touch, and fraying the edges all around my quilt squares and stitching them down. And so that's kind of how I sort of, as I've gravitated into the world of mixed media and paper, including that in my art. And so that is what I have been doing. And this is what I'm going to show you how to do, is basically how to fill a page, how to make it beautiful. And if you like this look, you know how to create this look. Just to show you, I made some cards. These have been done for actually few years. I use them still, but you can see the premise is very, very similar to what I'm showing you today. The only difference being that every once in a while I would put something on top of something else. So here I've collaged this on top of this, but it's very orderly. It's in a neat pattern, okay? And that's more my style of collage, is putting things that match, kind of. Just depends, in all honesty. You can see I've stitched something on top of this. I've stitched something here. Here's another card. And this particular one, this is the only thing that is overlapping. Everything else, even these little hearts, have their own little space. Everything has something in the space. And then this is the last one that I have left. I'm getting down. I need to make some more. They're just fun. It's just really fun to do. So that's the technique. We're calling it Rhonda's Collage. So what I want you to do, and this I have stitched, but you can do this fine. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can still do it with just gluing or using double-sided tape to put your images on, however you want to do that. And instead of, as you can see, I have these stitch lines, and I've done it deliberately straight and then kind of squawampish to give it a little bit more texture and definition. And I have a variegated variegated thread that goes from a light gray to a black. And so, and as you can see, because I've done this on both sides, my stitching lines go through to the back side. I didn't have this paper and then do another paper and stitch and then put them together and stitch around. I put my paper together and did my stitch lines so they showed up on the other side too. You'll notice it's exactly a mirror image of the front side, Okay, it's just lighter thread, so it doesn't show quite as easily, but it's the same stitch lines. But instead of, if you don't have a sewing machine or don't care to sew, you can do the same thing with just a ruler and a pen. It could be a paint pen. It could be, you could even do it with watercolor if that's something with a fine to kind of line to define your pockets, your little segments. That's what I should call it. Ronda's segmented collage. I'll probably forget that. Anyway, so these I kind of did in fall colors. You've still got a page where you can journal, something that you can write on, so it's to keep your interest, to make it interesting. I just think these are beautiful additives in a journal. And I have put reinforcements to make sure that my pages will go through. But normally in a journal, I don't do it with a ring binder. I usually stitch mine together. You'd have 2 pages together. So let's see, what else? Okay, well, let's just get started, okay? First of all, what you're going to do is get your paper from your idea book and prepare it. And by preparing it, that can be done a couple of different ways. You can either, well, these, I'll use these as examples because that's what I have. A chutney cheese ball. These pages are pretty sturdy, but for the, I don't know, for my pages in the idea book, I'm just really trying to make them really nice and sturdy. So when I prepared mine, I stitched 2 pages together. And when I did this, because I'm doing this with just glue and double-sided tape and with a pen to show those of you that don't stitch that it's okay, that you can do it this way as well. So I'm deliberately not, and this is just 1 page, but what I have done is I took some deli paper that I had dyed. I used a combination of brown and a little bit of lavender, just something that I had in my stash. And I went ahead and covered my book page and then glued it down. Now, a couple of things to think about. If you want to have your writing show through, then your light paper, like a thin paper, like a deli paper or a tracing paper, that kind of thing, that will show your writing behind it, which gives it another dimension. If you want it to show, like you can see a little bit, I hope you can here, not sure, the camera, I'm seeing the shadow of the camera. It's a different time of day. This is actually in the evening, but I've got to get this done so I can post this tomorrow. But I didn't want this to be really bold, so what I did was I just painted some white on it a little bit just to take the edge off. And then I went ahead and put my deli paper on, and then I put reinforcements on, but I would recommend that you hold off on this step because I found myself taking the reinforcements off on the page I just showed you, both sides. And so, anyway, but that's up to you. So basically, we're just going to get a ruler, and I have colored pens. I have some gel pens. Let's see, let me get those out. We could maybe give those a try, see how they work. since I've got this kind of done in purple, we'll go ahead and we'll go with the lavender. I'm going to get a piece of, come on, a piece of, okay, just so I can scribble and make sure that it's going okay. So what you have to decide is, and I would recommend actually doing it with a pencil first, so that if you want to erase it and do something different, you can. So just, you know, just go for it. Just do some lines, divide your paper up into sections, and you can just lightly, let's see, just kind of do that so you can play with it a little bit. I'm going to go right there, and I'm just kind of measuring as I go along. That's an awfully big one, so I may change that a little bit. And and I just draw some lines. Let's do a little bit more here. And you can, I mean, you can play with this, whatever. Now, what you might want to do, it depends. You can find your pictures, your fabrics, your papers that you're going to collage down, and then you can draw your framework or your sections to fit those pictures if you like, or you can do like I'm doing, just random, you know, just doing it, and then find your papers to fit, and fabrics and things, and that's kind of cool. I like that. So I'll go ahead and go with this, and this is just really to show you guys how easy it is, but it's really fun. Just a fun way to make a page that's different, that you can do so much with. Alrighty. And if I want to make these fat, I can do that. If I want to do squiggle lines, I can do that. It just gives it a different look. It's still going to be really cute. So I don't want anybody to feel like if you don't have a sewing machine that, you know, you're just lost. You can't do all the things that everybody's doing. I've been a quilter my whole life, and only the last few years, probably about 5 or 6, that I've turned to mixed media art. And I am loving it. Loving it. Okay, so now if I want to give some more definition, I can do a stitch line down here, the little dots. I can put in other colors, you know, and this, of course, a gel pen is going to be a thinner line than if I had a marker, that kind of thing. So for these purposes, I think we'll just kind of do this. We'll just sort of play with it just a little bit. Give it a little bit of interest. And since this is kind of a controlled, scrappy type thing, if I sort of, I don't want to call it dirty it up, but you know, make it a little less precise, then that's going to give it another layer of interest. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so you get the idea. All right, now we have to find some things to go in and fill in the spots, the blanks, if you will. Let's see, let me go ahead and kind of put this back together. I'm going to take this out. We'll put our book back. We'll just kind of keep that as a reference. You can't see it now, but it's sitting there in front of me, so I can kind of peek at it here and there. So then, if I want to do it random, I may have some old ephemera. I may have a saying, something that I've typed, something that I've put on the computer, something that I found in a book, something that, you know, that I really like, a picture, some vintage images, a piece of fabric that's in the color that I really love, some lace, any kind of that type of thing. So another thing that you want to think of, do you want to keep this where it all ties together, or do you want it to be all separate, like something having to do with sports and fashion and the beach or advertising or whatever? Or do you want to keep it all floral or the beach or purple or, you know, that kind of thing? So you decide how you want to do that. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. I'm going to pull some things and get started, and I will show you part of my journey, and then I'm just going to let you go, because I won't finish this page to be able to do it. I won't be able to finish this page in time to show you. I'll show you in my next video this finished page, but I will come back and show you a couple of elements and how I add them to get you started. And then I want you to just get going. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I've got a couple of things that I want to show you, and then I'm going to let you get to it and get on your own. All right. For instance, I have this sweet little image of an old Good Housekeeping magazine cover. Now, do you see how, let's bring that in so you can really see that, how that takes up the entire square and even covers up some of my writing? That's something I don't want to do. That's not for this particular style of what I'm showing you. It's a little bit too big. I want to have a little bit of a border. So what I'm going to do is just trim this off a little bit. I know you're shocked that I'm not using my rotary cutter and my mat board. Me too. I'm shocked. What can I say? Okay. Maybe just a touch more. Just a titch. All right. Let's do it this way. Okay. Well, I'll show you this way without the color. So you can see there's a little bit of space. I like that. I like a little bit of space. I don't like a ton of space, because then it feels like I'm wasting the page. And let me show you what I mean by that so you can get an idea. Okay, let's move this up. Okay, here's quite a bit of space between. I mean, it's not, it really isn't too bad. And maybe that's not the best one to show you, but in my mind this looks okay. But if I were to switch this over here, I think that looks better. So it's taking up the segment. You don't want to put something that's too small for the segment because it'll look out of place. Let's try, this would be a better one to show you what I'm talking about. See how tiny that looks? And it depends upon the look that you're going for, but as I'm trying to show you what I'm doing, that's too small. It would look better over here. It may even, it's a little bit too large for that. So, but this one takes up a better space. So you want to kind of keep an eye on that. And then what you can also do, now I've got a nice background here. Let's take this back out so you can see. Okay. Have a nice background. For instance, I'm going to fussy cut this cute little, this is fabric, this little fairy fabric. I'm going to put her right here. And I don't think that I'm going to put any paper or fabric underneath it. I think I'm just going to let the color, you know, of the page shine through. But she's going to go there. And then this little gal, I'm going to go ahead and ink around the edges to give it a little more definition. And she'll go right there. I'm going to put this purple flower right here. Now, what I am also going to do here is I'm going to give myself a little bit more texture and interest and put a background. So to do that, it's just a matter of, you know, my stick glue. Just simple. Simple. And we'll just kind of put it like that. And then I can either cut it or I can rip it. And I think for this, we will just go ahead and rip it. Let's see if I do this okay. And this also gives me an element by ripping it. I've got another color that I've introduced here. The white of the edge. Now, if I don't like the white, I can always, you know, put something else there. Okay, let's take a peek, see. Okay, not bad. I'll trim this just a teeny bit, tear off just a smidgen more, just to make sure that I don't cover my lines. I mean, you don't have to be this precise. This is just, welcome to my world. Okay, and I'm going to, also I've found what I want to do in this spot. I'm taking a dictionary page that's been aged. I'm going to glue that on. I'm going to glue those down. And I have this beautiful little piece of tatting that I didn't cut. I didn't do anything to. So I just go through my stash and I found that, and that's going to be perfect. I'm going to put that there. So anyway, that's it, guys. I want you to get some pages, get some images, gather some of your goodies and go to town, and let's see what your version is. Let's see what your version is of Rhonda's collage. All right. Thanks for joining me, you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful week. Until next time, have a fabulous day. Bye now.